Before we start, please make sure to like this video and hit this subscribe button, so you never miss a story like this. And also comments where you are watching from, how many sons and daughters you have. Thanks. My name is Kayla Morgan, and I never asked for pity. But that didn't stop them from throwing it at me like scraps. I didn't need a man. I didn't need charity. And I sure as hell didn't need their fake little smiles at drop-off, whispering behind my back like I couldn't hear them. Like I was some kind of walking failure for raising my son alone. I guess you have everything now, huh? That's what Madison Carter said to me that morning in the school parking lot, lips curled in a smile that didn't touch her eyes. Her designer sunglasses glinted like daggers in the sun. Her voice dripped with fake sweetness, loud enough for the other moms to hear. I was buckling my son's backpack, my hair still damp from the shower, wearing jeans and a hoodie with a coffee stain from 2 days ago. Excuse me? I stood straight, brows raised, eyes locked on her like a warning. She leaned in, condescending, smug, eyes flicking down at my clothes like I was dirt beneath her heels. You got your little government apartment, your little side hustle at the diner, and that precious little boy you pop out alone every morning. That's everything you ever wanted, right? Then she laughed. Loud, on purpose. The kind of laugh meant to invite a crowd. And it worked. The other moms turned. Smirking. Waiting for my reaction. I clenched my jaw, feeling my pulse in my ears. My son looked up at me, confused. Go on, baby, I said gently, pushing his backpack strap tighter. You'll be late. I'll be right here. He nodded and ran toward the school doors, unaware that I was seconds away from exploding. I turned back to her. You want to say something, Madison? Say it. Without the sarcasm. Oh, honey, she said, sipping her almond milk latte like this was some casual gossip session. I just think it's cute. You acting like one of us. Like you belong here. Like you're not the charity case of the school. You mean the charity case that pays her own bills? I said, stepping closer. The one who raised a kid without running to daddy for a down payment? That charity case? Her eyes narrowed. Watch your mouth. Or what? You'll what, tell the PTA I don't belong? Already did that, remember? Now her mask cracked, just a little. Her hand twitched around her cup. You think attitude makes up for class? You think just because you work hard, you deserve respect? You're a waitress, Kayla. Not a businesswoman. Not a wife. Not a real mother. That one hit. She knew exactly where to aim. And I felt it in my chest like a punch. But I didn't show it. I just smiled. Cold and steady. You're right, I said softly. I'm not like you. Then I stepped closer. Closer than she liked. I don't wear lies on my face. I don't fake my marriage just to afford a Tesla. And I don't need a man to tell me who I am. I earn everything I have. You don't have anything, she snapped. You serve pancakes. And you serve gossip in leggings. Congratulations. Now that got the others to laugh. Not all of them, but enough. Madison's eyes turned sharp, and her smile vanished like a flame doused with cold water. This isn't over, she hissed, stepping back. You'll never be more than what you are. Good, I said, because what I am is real, and hungry. She stormed off, clutching her cup like it could shield her pride. I stood there for a moment, chest heaving, my fingers trembling with heat. Not fear. Not shame. But the kind of fire that builds when you've been held back so long, it starts to push through you. I turned toward my car, trying to calm down. But inside, I was screaming. Because I was tired. Tired of being the punchline. Tired of being underestimated. Tired of smiling through tears in my car after school drop-off like some invisible ghost. But what she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that the joke wasn't on me. While they were posting brunch pictures and planning Botox, I was building something in silence. Late at night, while my son slept, I was grinding. Studying, designing, calling vendors, packaging orders, learning how taxes worked, teaching myself marketing from YouTube. They thought I was just some waitress who got knocked up and left behind. But every dollar I saved from that diner? It wasn't for nails or bags. It was going straight into my dream, my brand. My online store. My name on the label. KM and Company. A name that no one would laugh at when they saw it in stores. I'd show them. Not with words. With results. But first, I had to survive days like this. I didn't go home that day and cry. I'd cried enough. For years, I let their words sink into my skin like ink on paper. But now? Now, every insult was fuel. Every smirk, every judgmental glance, they pushed me harder. Because while they were talking, I was doing. Every night after dinner, after homework, after baths and bedtime stories, I'd sit at my tiny kitchen table with a notebook and a used laptop I bought off Craigslist. I didn't even have Wi-Fi in the beginning. I'd drive to the McDonald's parking lot and sit there for hours with my son asleep in the back seat, working under dim dashboard lights like my life depended on it. Because it did. I didn't have a team. I didn't have investors. What I had was a $42 leftover from tips after paying rent. And a dream that wouldn't die just because life got hard. That dream? A brand. Not just clothes, but a message, KM and Company. Designed by someone who knew what it felt like to be overlooked. Not every woman could afford $300 leggings or hire a nanny just to go shopping. But every woman deserved to feel powerful in her own skin. So I got to work. I learned everything. What licensing I needed. What suppliers were real and who would scam me. How fabric weights worked, what shipping really cost, how margins could break a business. I taught myself SEO before I even knew what the letters stood for. There were nights I fell asleep on my keyboard with tears crusting under my eyes, tears of exhaustion, not defeat. And all the while, the outside world stayed the same. Same parking lot. Same fake smiles. Same Madison, who told her followers she was blessed while dragging my name through every mom group she could find. They said I was wasting my time. That I should get a second job, not chase pipe dreams. That no one buys mom fashion from someone who can't even afford daycare. I smiled. I nodded. And I kept building. Quietly. Ruthlessly. Without a single word back. Because I knew. I knew my moment was coming. It started small. A sale here. A hoodie there. My first customer was a girl from Arizona who left a 5-star review and said, "This makes me feel like I can walk into a room and take up space." That sentence? I printed it and taped it to my fridge. I shipped every order by hand. Packaged each one like it was a gift. Sometimes I dropped off parcels at 5 a.m., still in pajamas, just to make it work before my shift at the diner. Then the orders doubled. Then tripled. I started waking up to sales notifications on my phone, my name ringing in my hand like a promise. People were tagging me. Influencers were reaching out. And I was still making waffles and wiping tables during the day. One night, I came home from work to find my son waiting with a folded piece of paper. "I made this for you," he said. It was a crayon drawing of me standing on a stage, holding a trophy that said, "Best Mom CEO." I broke. Right there. On the floor of our little apartment, holding my boy like he was my whole world. Because he was. He never saw the tears I cried behind the bathroom door. Never heard the calls where I begged suppliers to give me 10 more days to pay. Never felt the panic that crept in at night like a thief, whispering that I'd fail, that they were right. But he believed in me. And that was more than enough. I remember the day it all changed. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't a press release. It was just one viral moment. A college student posted a TikTok unboxing one of my KM and Company confidence hoodies. She didn't have a huge following, maybe a few thousand. But her words? They cut through everything. She looked into the camera and said, "This isn't just a hoodie. This was made by someone who understands what it means to rise without help. I feel like I could walk into my toxic ex's office and own the whole building in this." By morning, we had 4,000 new orders. By the end of the week, 22,000. And just like that, the whispers turned into questions. Wait, who made this brand? Where did she come from? They Googled me. They tried to find scandals. But all they found was truth. The single mom from the corner booth. The woman who once asked for extra shifts just to buy a printer. The waitress they mocked for being too ambitious. And now? Now they were reposting my content with hashtags like #girlboss and #FromStruggle2Sucks. Funny, right? The same ones who turned their backs were suddenly turning heads. But not Madison. No. Her smile tightened every time someone mentioned me. When the PTA invited me to speak about women-led entrepreneurship, she laughed extra loud that night. Oh wow, what's next? She gonna teach us how to serve pancakes with power? It burned her. That I didn't just survive. That I thrived without her permission. And the thing about people like Madison? They need to be the center. Always. So when I got invited to headline the Mothers in Business Gala, a huge event backed by Forbes and Spotify, guess who suddenly wanted to be supportive? She messaged me. "Hey babe. Let me know if you need help styling your outfit for the stage. I mean, you're new to this, right?" I didn't respond. Not because I was bitter, no, I had forgiven her long ago. But I had nothing left to prove. I showed up to that gala in a custom KM and Company jumpsuit, stitched by women in my own community. I spoke on that stage with my son sitting in the front row, clutching the same paper crown he made me when I was nothing but his mom and a dream. And when I shared my story, the crowd didn't blink. They listened like their lives depended on it. Because maybe, for some of them, it did. I ended with this. They laughed when I said I was building an empire. But it's easy to laugh when you've never had to rebuild yourself from ashes. So let them laugh. Just don't forget to invoice them when they come knocking. The applause didn't stop. Not even when I stepped off stage. Back home, though, something was waiting for me. Emails. Dozens. DMs, hundreds. One of them from my son's school. Apparently, someone had sent an anonymous tip that I was illegally hiring foreign workers. Another claimed my brand was a scam. Another reported me for child neglect. I sat there shaking, hands over my mouth. Not because I believed any of it, but because I believed any of it, but because I knew who was behind it. Madison didn't clap for me. She came for me. And here's the truth about success. The higher you climb, the louder the snakes hiss. But what she didn't know was, I wasn't scared. Not anymore. Because I wasn't that same girl, wiping tables with cracked hands and shaking bones. I had lawyers now. I had receipts. I had a name. And I was ready. The school called me in for a meeting. They said there were concerns about my ability to balance parenting with my new responsibilities. They never used the word jealousy. They didn't have to. I could smell it on every question. Are you sure your son is getting enough attention now that your business is growing? I smiled. A slow, practiced smile. The kind that holds back years of swallowed comebacks. My son eats dinner with me every night. We do homework together. He tucks me in sometimes when I pass out next to his science project. So unless you're asking if you want to start paying my bills, I suggest we stick to the facts. They didn't expect that. Because I wasn't the same quiet mom anymore. I had grown teeth. But I wasn't done. That same day, I got a call from one of my manufacturers in LA. Someone had emailed them pretending to be me, canceling all orders. They almost believed it, until they saw the Gmail address. kilometerempire.ceo@gmail.com. Not even subtle. I sat there, phone in hand, heart pounding, but not with fear. With clarity. Because in that moment, I knew. This wasn't just sabotage. This was desperation. And I was done playing polite. I went quiet for 48 hours. Not because I was hiding. But because I was gathering. Receipts. Emails. Screenshots. Testimonies from teachers, co-workers, even a few of Madison's old friends who were more than willing to talk once they knew I wasn't scared. And then? I showed up. Not at her door. No. I waited for the perfect opportunity, the spring showcase. A school event where parents and teachers mingled, where local reporters came for feel-good stories. Madison walked in like she owned the place, heels clicking, fake smile glowing, a stack of flyers for her mom life coaching group clutched in manicured fingers. She didn't see me until she turned around and... "Oh," she gasped. "I didn't know you were coming. Busy boss lady and all." I smiled. Calm. Controlled. I held up my phone, still recording. "Funny. You emailed my suppliers, tried to get my brand blacklisted, and told the school I was neglecting my son. But here you are, handing out flyers like nothing happened." Her face dropped. Not all at once, just a flicker, like a mask slipping. "You're being dramatic," she hissed, lowering her voice. "You think you're better than everyone now just because you sold a few hoodies?" I leaned in, slow and steady. "No. I don't think I'm better. But I know I'm not afraid of you anymore." The room had gone quiet. People were listening. Some with popcorn eyes. Others with guilt. She glanced around, realizing her power was melting in real time. I turned to the small crowd. Madison tried to ruin me. Not because I did anything to her, but because I didn't need her approval to rise. Then I walked to the mic. Yep, the school had given me 10 minutes to speak as a local business success. I took 15. I told them everything. Not with rage. Not with tears. But with truth. Sharp, clean truth. The kind you can't unhear. I told them about the late nights in the parking lot. About the faked emails. About the moms who used me as a punchline. And when I looked straight at Madison, I said, "You called me just a waitress. Just a single mom. Just a nobody. But the funny thing is, you can call someone just anything, until the day they stop asking for your table scraps and start building their own damn table." The applause didn't come right away. It came in waves. From the back. From the sides. From the parents who once stayed silent. Even from teachers who'd looked away. Madison left early. She didn't even say goodbye. But you know what? I did. I waved. Because I wasn't angry anymore. Not because I forgot what she did, but because I didn't need revenge. I had evidence. I had truth. And soon? I'd have results. 3 weeks later, I stood in the same school auditorium, only this time, not as a guest. I was there as a donor. That's right. The woman they once mocked for being a waitress and a single mom was now funding the school's new entrepreneurship program. 4 girls. 4 dreamers. For every kid who got laughed at for having a big idea and a small bank account. When I stepped up to that podium, something inside me clicked. It wasn't nerves. It wasn't pride either. It was peace. Because for the first time in my life, I didn't have to prove anything. Not to Madison. Not to the other moms. Not to the teachers who used to call me unstable. And definitely not to the woman I used to be, the one who hid in her car to cry during lunch breaks. I looked out into the crowd. There were students, parents, board members, and even some of the women who once snickered behind my back. And then I saw her. Madison. Second row, arms folded, face unreadable. Of course she came. She had to. Because while I was building my brand, she was busy burning bridges. And now? I was the keynote speaker. I was the featured guest. The poor single mom they used to whisper about was now inking a $2.5 million licensing deal with a national retailer. Right there. Live. On stage. I had timed it perfectly. I held the contract in my hand. Signed it. And let the crowd erupt. Flashbulbs. Applause. A standing ovation. I didn't look at her. Not yet. I looked at my son. Front row. Grinning so wide, it made my knees weak. He wasn't embarrassed of me anymore. He wasn't confused about why I was always tired. He understood now. He saw that every skipped party, every missed field trip, every ramen dinner with candles wasn't failure. It was sacrifice. It was foundation. It was the price I paid to show him that we are not what happens to us, we are what we build from it. And then I said it. The words I'd waited so long to say. To every girl who's ever been told she's too much or not enough. You don't have to wait for a seat at the table. Build your own table. And if they laugh? Build it anyway. One day, they'll be asking you for a seat at your table. That line broke something open in the room. Even Madison lowered her eyes. After the event, people lined up. Not for autographs or selfies. But to say, I'm sorry. One of the moms, Leanne, I think, pulled me aside and whispered. I knew what Madison was doing. I didn't speak up. I'm ashamed. But you were incredible today. I didn't hug her. But I didn't turn her away either. Because I realized, this wasn't about revenge. This was about redemption. Mine. Theirs. Even hers. Later that night, my son and I sat on the couch eating pizza out of the box. He looked at me and said, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. I laughed. Rich and tired? I teased. He shook his head. No. Brave. And just like that. Every tear. Every insult. Every shift where I cleaned tables while he waited in the corner doing homework. It all felt worth it. Because they mocked me. They tried to break me. But they didn't know. I was building an empire in silence. And now? The silence was over.